It was Christmas Eve, and the customary joy of the season had given way to a noticeable unease. The room's corners didn't appear to feel the warmth of the crackling fireplace. The room was filled with strained, too loud laughter, an attempt to bridge a gap too big for ornaments and beautifully packaged presents. "Everyone, have a happy Christmas." Character 1 made the greeting. Their voices are a bit too loud and a bit too brilliant. Their eyes didn't quite match the smiles that followed. Everyone greeted each other, but it seemed like they were all acting up a scene. The holiday didn't seem to be being enjoyed to the fullest. The chorus said, "Merry Christmas," but the words sounded hollow in the opulent living room. The space was thoughtfully planned to evoke a festive atmosphere and capture the excitement of the season. However, there was a problem. They all knew, even if nobody stated it out loud. The air had a particular weight to it. The chats became increasingly fragmented as the evening went on. Every courteous chuckle felt a bit too contrived, every statement a bit too measured. The tension in the room then increased as though a switch had been flipped. Silently watching the others, John and Ben stood in the corner. They said a lot with their silence. Nobody knew what they were waiting for. "Do you frequently see him?" Even though Ben's voice was hardly audible above a whisper, it was powerful enough to cause everyone to stop. "I can't even recall when he last visited." Like a thick fog, the question lingered in the atmosphere. There was only awkward shuffling and no replies. The others were still speaking, but suddenly their voices seemed far away. The truth could no longer be disregarded, even though they were all trying to escape it. Then the door opened, as though called by their shared discomfort. William entered, drawing attention to himself right away. "Everyone, have a happy Christmas." His greeting was cheerful and enthusiastic, yet there was an implicit tension in his voice. For a minute, the room became silent. Everyone answered, but their laughing was brittle and their grins were tight. This was not your typical holiday get-together. When William was present, it had never been. There was a sense of drama and unresolved concerns in his very presence. The response was, "Merry Christmas." However, it wasn't an exchange this time. It was more of a formality, a recognition. It was impossible for anyone to act like this was simply another Christmas. This was not like the others. Kate, who typically kept everything together with her composed manner, abruptly turned to face one of the others. "Kate, it's this way." Her voice was sharp and authoritative, with a hint of coldness. "This way, Kate, the cheap seats." Her tone was dismissive, almost too sharp, and it reverberated around the room, creating a tense atmosphere. Kate had always been the one to keep things cool and collected, but that serenity was fading tonight. The tension was so bad that the room seemed to get smaller. Nobody was able to move through the quiet. The chuckles had ceased. The smiles were gone. What was meant to be a happy occasion had become much darker. The oppressive stillness was broken by Kate's voice as she spoke once more. "Take a look at this. A plaything? Really? Does that mean everything will be fixed?" Her statements were stinging and caustic. "A plaything? Is that all it takes to act as though nothing is wrong?" The room fell silent. There was more to the question than just the toy. It has to do with everything. The presents, the decor, the fake grins. They served only as diversions, obstacles erected to conceal the facts, the reality that nobody wished to confront. At last, John, who had been silent up until now, said something. "For so long, we've all been acting." Although his voice was steady, there was an unavoidable weight of truth about it. Acting as though nothing is wrong, but we have to face the reality tonight. Now the room seemed smaller, uncomfortable and inevitable. The words lingered in the atmosphere. The reality, it was the thing that everyone had been avoiding and didn't want to speak about. And now it was visible. No more pretending that everything was all right, no more hiding behind laughing. Once more the door opened, and William was the first to speak. With a voice that was colder than ever, he replied, "We've been avoiding this for too long. We must discuss what transpired. Regarding your actions." The space went cold. Everyone felt the impact of his remarks like a tidal wave. What had taken place? What was he trying to say? Why now too? It was the height of the tension that had been building for hours. With a slightly shaky voice, Character 4 inquired, "What happened? By what do you mean? What did we do?" William's eyes did not waver. you understand exactly what I mean. The things we've all been acting as though never happened, the lies, the deception, it's time to confront it. Everything. The event, which had begun as a straightforward Christmas get-together, suddenly transformed into something much more. There was no turning back now that the facade had broken. The ensuing hush was overwhelming. The family's meticulously crafted image was now completely exposed and could not be repaired. Everyone made an effort to act normal as the night went on, but the truth eventually revealed. It could no longer be concealed. Whether they were prepared or not, they were all forced to confront the fact that the past had caught up with them. It became evident at that point that Christmas was not the issue. The years of unresolved tension, the unspoken harsh realities, and the hidden resentments were the problem. And now, it was impossible to ignore them. The situation became more genuine as the evening came to an end. There would never be the same. The holiday happiness disguise had fallen off, revealing the unvarnished reality. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you have read this far and experienced every bit of this reality. Stay tuned as we continue to delve deeply into the important stories that expose the realities we'd prefer not to confront. Beneath the surface, there's always more. And just like that, what started as a night of celebration turned into something no one in that room will ever forget. Because the truth has a way of finding its moment, no matter how long it's been buried. Behind the smiles, behind the traditions, behind the perfectly staged images the world is used to seeing, there are cracks. Real ones, human ones. And tonight, those cracks didn't just show, they shattered everything. But here's the thing, this isn't just about one night. This isn't just about one conversation. This is about years of silence, years of things left unsaid, emotions pushed down, truths ignored. And once those truths come out, they don't go back in. So the real question is, what happens next? Because when a family built on image is forced to face reality, everything changes. Relationships shift, trust breaks, and the future. It becomes unpredictable. Was this the moment everything finally fell apart, or the moment everything finally became real? One thing is certain, after tonight, nothing will ever be the same again. And if you think this is where the story ends, trust me, it's only just beginning. Because there are still secrets buried deeper, still questions no one has answered, and still truths waiting for the right moment to come to light. So if you want to stay ahead of every twist, every revelation, every hidden detail they don't want you to know, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay right here with us. Because on this channel, we don't just tell stories, we uncover the truth behind them, and the next part of this story, it might be even bigger than this one. Fire.